All right, so next let's take a look at crafting ad copy that sells and how we can use the Perfect ROI Ads formula to write really amazing ads. But first, let's take a look at Heaven and Hell Island. I want to address 4 important elements to creating ad copy. Okay, the first thing we want to do is we want to identify their hell, okay? Then we want to agitate their pain. People are more likely to move away from pain than they are towards pleasure, right? Think about this. If if I had a bottle of water here and you're saying, hey, I'd like to get a drink of water, and you're just in a normal everyday situation, how much is that water? I've gone to the airport before and I'd be thirsty and I'd see that a bottle of water is like $6. I'm like, no, I'm gonna pass. That's way too expensive. So if I said, hey, look, I have a bottle of water here, it's $100, you'd be like, look, you're ridiculous. There's no way I'm gonna pay that much money for a bottle of water. Yeah, rightly so, right? Now let's say that you're in the middle of the desert and you've been stranded in the desert for 6 days in the Sahara Desert, and there's sand blowing everywhere, and your tongue is dry like sandpaper, and it feels like you're swallowing sand, and you're so thirsty, and you're right there on death's doorstep. Money has no issue. Money's not an issue here. You would pay your entire life savings for just a little shot glass full of water, right? I remember, I don't know if it was World War I or World War II, but I remember that mass inflation had gone up and people were taking wheelbarrows. I've seen images where people were taking literally wheelbarrows full of money to the grocery store just to buy a loaf of bread, right? So, if you can agitate that pain, then later on, money or whatever call to action that you have won't matter if you're able to agitate that pain, agitate that pain enough. Then you want to show them their heaven, right? So identify their hell, agitate their pain, and then show them what their perfect life could look like, all right? And then you want to show them how your product can move them from their hell to their heaven. And that's what you need to articulate, how your product can move them from their hell and all that pain and suffering that being in that hell's causing them, and how it's going to move them and take them to heaven where the pain's gone and they're actually thriving as a result, right? And you want to be able to, this is really kind of like the base, the foundation for writing your ad copy. So let's take a look at like your heaven and hell here, right? So let's say that your hell here is being overweight, and I've got a hilarious image here of Chris Farley. God rest his soul, I love Chris Farley. Let's look at some of the things that he's experiencing that kind of puts him in his own personal hell here. And this is just an avatar that I've made up. I use Chris Farley as an example, but this is just anyone who, dislikes being overweight. First of all, they're going to have less energy. All right, wouldn't you agree with that? Most people are overweight, they're going to have less energy. They're going to have a lot less energy than, some shredded athlete who plays for the NBA or for the NFL or the NHL, right? I have a young toddler right now. He's 2.5 years old, just about to turn 3. And I'm obviously an overweight individual. And, it's upsetting when I take him to the park and he's like, Daddy, come play with me, come down the slide. Yeah, I'd love to go down the slide with you multiple times, but after I've gone down the first time, I'm winded, I'm out of breath, I have no energy. I'm like, son, no, you go up there, you go down the slide. Okay, Daddy will sit here and watch you. No, Daddy, come and play with me. How does that make me feel? I don't feel good, right? When I can't do that, when I don't have the energy to play with my son, right? So, that's something I don't feel good about. I can relate to Chris Farley here, okay, in this example. Feels unattractive, right? So we live in a society, we live in a culture right now where, we have certain beauty standards, and I obviously am not part of that beauty standard, okay? And so I feel unattractive, right? No one ever watches TV and looks at Zach Galifianakis. Okay, maybe some people do, but most people don't look at Zach Galifianakis and like, oh my God, he's so hot, he's so handsome. No, that never happens. But if you look at like Chris Pine or the guy who plays Thor or any of those guys, like people, oh my God, he's so hot. My girlfriend, she likes, who's that guy you like? Channing Tatum. She likes Channing Tatum. Oh my God, Channing Tatum's so hot, right? I've never once heard her say anything about Zach Galifianakis or anyone else, right? That's because, look, society, I get this, okay? Society, our culture has certain beauty standards, and, we know that being overweight is not one of those beauty standards, so you're going to feel unattractive as a result, and that's not a good feeling to have. And as a result of feeling unattractive, you're going to have low self-esteem, right? You see, people love beautiful people, and they have the models, and the sales guy, the guy who got your promotion. He's very active, very fit, and he's very handsome, and all the women, he's drinking water at the water cooler, and all the women are surrounded by him, and and now look, now of course you got the promotion, and so you just sit there and you just kind of waddle in your self-pity, and as a result, you have low self-esteem as a result, right? And that kind of drags you down. So you're gonna have low self-esteem, right? I'd say it's pretty common that people would have that. Well, if you have low self-esteem, you feel unattractive, you're likely not going to go talk to all these girls or guys, right? So you sit there and you just kind of sulk all day, and you're lonely, right? You're lonely and you're depressed. Man, she's so pretty. I just wish that, I'd just do anything to go on a date with her. And you're on Tinder there every day, and you're swiping right, but no one's ever swiping right on you, and you're lonely. You're sad. Okay? And as a result of that, you're having less sex, okay? And I'd say that's something that people need, okay? So you're having less sex, and you're sad, and you're lonely, and you're depressed, and you have low energy. And I just think back, like when I'm watching that movie Dodgeball. I love that movie Dodgeball, right? And remember, who's the guy who plays in Dodgeball? What is his name? Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller, he's so active, and, at the end of the movie, when he actually loses to the average Joe's gym, it shows him at the end just eating, he got fat again, he's eating KFC, and he's like, that effing Chuck Norris, right? Okay, look, that's what happens, when you're in this kind of mental state, and you're lonely, and you have low self-esteem, you don't feel good, you turn to eating more food and continuing to gain more weight, as a coping mechanism for all these bad feelings that you have, right? That's why they call it, is it soul food or not soul food? What's it called? Not soul food, it's not soul food, it's comfort food. Comfort food. If you're from the South, it's called comfort food because you're feeling bad, you want some comfort food to help you feel better, right? And as a result of being overweight, you're also going to have lots of different health conditions, right? Likely you're going to have diabetes, you're going to have, you might develop heart disease, you're going to have inflammation, a lot of chronic pain, right? And that doesn't feel good, okay? I've had chronic pain before as well. I think it was a result of inflammation, and it was sometimes crippling, okay? And I'm not even that overweight, so it does not feel good. When I started working out and started running, and of course, and I started losing weight, then a lot of that pain went away. So, I can really relate here with Chris Farley. Now let's look at the opposite of that, and we're going to look at the heaven. Mr. Sixpack Abs here, and here I have Dan Bilzerian. We all know who he is. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. He's a Instagram influencer, and he's this like shredded guy with perfect teeth and a perfect jawline. He's shredded with six-pack abs, and he's always doing fun and exciting things, and he always got 10, 15 beautiful women everywhere, he goes, surrounded by them, surrounding him. And look at him here. Look at him. Look at that cocky smirk he's got on his face, right? If you could see the whole image, you'd see, that boat's full of, half-naked women, and he's enjoying his life. He's out here doing a lot of fun. He's out there on a boat, and, he's got a beautiful woman on the back of the boat, that he's pulling on a wakeboard, and look, he's having the fun. He's enjoying his life, right? So let's see, what Mr. Six-Pack Abs life looks like, okay? Well, he's got more energy, that's for sure, right? He's out there having a lot of activities. This guy's looking at him, and he's like, man, I'd love to be able to do that, and I'm just so tired, I just can't do it, right? He feels attractive and he feels sexy. Why? Because he meets the beauty standard that we have in our culture and our society. He's got more energy, he feels attractive, he feels sexy. As a result, his confidence is going to be through the roof, right? Almost cocky, and I'm sure he probably is cocky. And as a result, he has no problem. He feels good, he looks good. Hey, hola, what's up, señorita? My name's Mr. Dan. I'm rich, I'm sexy, I got a lot of money. He has no problems approaching women asking for dates. And here's a rule of thumb, right? There's I like hockey, and there's a famous quote by Wayne Gretzky, says, you miss 100% of the shots that you never take, right? So, if this guy's never asking for dates, he's going to lose every single time. He's going to miss 100% of the shots that he never takes. Even if this guy was just an average-looking guy, he's going to have more dates if he had more confidence, right? So, but because he's Dan Bilzerian, he has no problem with that, right? He's going to go more on dates, and as a result, he's going to have more sex. And he's going to have a better health. He's going to have a longer life. You know, if you are, physically fit and you have optimal health, you're going to live a better, healthier, longer life, right? So imagine if you're selling a health product, we want to be able to relate with Chris here, right? We want to be like, look, I'm thinking like, let's say, look, you're overweight and, that girl that you liked, you've had a crush on, she's, you never had the guts to ask her out, and, you have low energy, you have low self-esteem, you're having sex, you want to be able to highlight his hell, you want to be able to agitate it, and like, look at this, man, look where you could be next year. You look at Mr. Sixpack Abs and look at his life, right? Like, what's keeping you from doing that? And you basically want to position your product so that it's taking them from their hell to their heaven. And we'll talk more about this and how we incorporate this again in the Perfect ROI Ads formula. So first, let's look at the 4 reasons why people buy. So the first reason is pain or fear. Think about that. People are more likely to move away from pain and fear than they are towards pleasure or reward. And pleasure and reward is something that people will do, but they're more likely to move away from pain and fear. So, imagine if I had like a toothache, for example, and it was just a minor numb toothache, I might put that off for many, many months. But then if it was excruciating pain, I'd be, at the dentist like today if I could, right? The more pain that I have, the more likely I'm gonna do something about that, right? So think about, pain and fear, the fear of getting fired. That's scary. You get fired, you don't have a way to pay your rent, you don't have a way to pay your mortgage. As a result, you're going to end up losing your home. You got a wife who, she's very high maintenance, and if you can't pay for her gym memberships and for her massage and beauty spas and all these different things, like she's probably going to leave you. I don't know. Like I'm generalizing here, but that's what we do in marketing. We generalize. That's the whole customer avatars. A generalization of all of our clients, so you get fired, then you lose your family, you don't get to see your kids, you lose your home. No, you lose your home first, then you lose your family because your wife's going to leave you and find someone who can actually take care of her and provide for her, and then you're going to be humiliated, right? And you're like, man, I got to go out here and I got to get out back on the market, and I haven't been on the market since, I was in my early 20s, now I'm overweight now, and, and all these girls are going to reject me. See how that adds up? Like, look, you don't want to live in fear, right? You don't want to live in fear. So people will do a lot just to, not get fired, or, I've seen a lot of people, who would never ever go talk to a girl just because they're afraid that they would be rejected, right? And really what they were afraid of being humiliated from the rejection. So fear, pain. They're big motivators. They're big reasons why people will spend a lot of money to avoid these things. The second reason why people buy is for gain and reward. And I think fear and pain is a much stronger motivator than gain and reward, but it's not long lasting, right? So you can use coercive power to get someone to do something that you want right now, but it's, eventually you're gonna, you would build up some type of retaliation or, hate as a result of that, right? So it's not something, you got to have the gain and reward. And, we've always heard, the carrot and the stick. I like to use a little bit of the carrot and the stick. We've got a donkey here, and obviously this woman here is dangling a carrot in front of him as a way to motivate him to continue moving forward with her on his back, right? So, the gain and reward, dangling that carrot, so to say, right? So what does that look like? Well, it could look like getting a promotion. Could look like making more money. Could look like finding that date, finding that spouse. Look, I've worked with clients in the past who, were relationship gurus, relationship consultants, and there's a lot of women out there just looking for the perfect husband, for the perfect man. Having more sex, big motivator. Having more freedom, that's something that's huge. People would love to fire their boss and, quit their job and, make 6 figures working from home on their own schedule as they travel the world. Like, people love freedom, right? And that's something that people would really work hard to attain. More time with their family, more vacations. So gain and reward, is also a very powerful motivator. The third reason why is status and logic, right? So what you want to do here is you want to increase someone's sense of self-worth. People love to feel valued. They love to feel loved. They love to feel important, right? So think about how you can position your messaging and your product so that it helps your prospect achieve a feeling of accomplishment. So that it helps your prospect achieve a feeling of importance. So that it helps them achieve the feeling of being desired, right? And that's also a big motivator too. And these are things that you can use in your business in addition to, your marketing, to help motivate, employees and motivate your staff. A lot of people, think about employee of the month. That's something that drives people. People's competitiveness is a big driving mechanism for motivating people. I like to give you a specific example. I remember I'm from a small town in Somerset, Kentucky, and we have a Texas Roadhouse, which is an amazing steakhouse, one of my favorite restaurants. And once a year, they do a promotion where if you buy like $600 or $700 worth of gift cards, you prepay for it. They'll give you, I think, either $100 or $200 in additional gift cards. So you pay $600 and you get $800, but none of that really matters because what people really wanted was a skip ahead pass. So when you bought that promotion, you get a skip ahead pass, and Somerset, Kentucky is right there on a really beautiful lake, and people come from all over the surrounding states, from Ohio and Michigan and Tennessee, to go to that lake because we've got a lot of beautiful coves and fingers in the lake, and people like to go out there and party. And so, in the summer, there could be a line of like an hour and a half just to get into Texas Roadhouse. Like you could be waiting that long just to be able to eat. And I think one of the greatest feelings in the world for me, and I probably shouldn't admit to this, was getting my skip ahead pass. And the longer the line was, the better it felt to be able to just walk in there and be able to get seated at a table right away. Maybe I'm a bad person, I am, but look, I know a lot of people who also bought the skip ahead passes, and when I told them how I felt, they would also agree with me, right? So look, it's true. It's a part of human behavior, right? In addition to that, think about okay, I've got a Rolex, okay? I got a solid gold presidential, okay? I never really wear it, but I have one. I know a lot of people who wear Rolexes, right? If you have a Rolex, they're terrible watches, okay? First of all, mine's a vintage watch. I don't know how the new ones. I'm not that much of a baller, but mine's a vintage watch. Keeps terrible time. In fact, I can take it, send it off to get it maintenance, and it comes back, and after wearing it for 3 or 4 months, it's losing several minutes a day, and it keeps terrible time. You're much better off going to Walmart and getting a cheap $30 Timex. If you needed something that would tell the time, a Timex would be a much better job, would do a much better job. But why do people buy Rolex? Because again, they want to feel important. They want to have a higher level of status, right? They want to feel more important. They want to feel more valued. They like to have the attention on themselves, right? And so they buy Rolex. Especially if you get like a stainless steel Rolex, like you can buy an Invitica or a Citizen. It's literally for thousands of dollars less. It's made of the same. People talk about the mechanical, the movement of the watch. No one really cares. The status. That's what people are buying. They're buying the status. You're not buying a BMW. BMWs are great cars, okay? But really what you're paying all that extra money for is the status, okay? People want to feel important. They want to feel valued. And they'll do a lot of extra work. They'll pay a lot more extra money to be able to have a higher level of status. The fourth reason is logic and proof, right? So you want to be able to, I always say that people buy off emotion. That's what the other 3 reasons are for. I want to be able to kind of stoke that emotion. But then people buy from emotion, they justify with logic. So now we want to help justify their emotional behaviors and their emotional decisions with logic. What's that look like? Well, we want to use specific facts, statistics, reports. We want to use social proof, testimonials, before and after photos, case studies, right? So think about that. If your customer avatar is an overweight person and they're in their own personal hell, you could talk about how, look, I was in your same situation. And that's something too that we want to discuss too, is like you never want to blame the individual, right? There's a great book by Russell Brunson called .com Secrets. He talks about, you never want to sell a self-improvement offer. Look, if you want to lose weight, it's very simple, okay? You got to move more, you got to eat less, okay? That's simple. Move more, eat less. But no one wants to do that, right? They're always looking for new opportunities, new fad diets. That's why fad diets are all the rage, and people want to try new different things to help them lose weight easier and faster, right? That's why the keto diet, that's a fad diet. It works, by the way, but it's also a fad diet. People are like, look, I don't want to exert all this extra energy and move more and get up early and have to go to the gym. Ugh, I don't want to do that, right? And eat a salad. Ugh, I want those chili cheese fries. Like, they don't want to give that up, right? So there's like, man, I've tried that before. I was unsuccessful at it. They want a new opportunity, right? And people also, again, people like to feel valued. They don't like to feel invalidated, right? So they don't like to feel judged, or they don't like to feel blamed. So never blame the prospect. You always want to deflect that blame onto someone else or something else, right? Look, it's never their fault. And then you don't want to present them with something that they've already heard of before. You want to present them with a new opportunity. So you could be selling something like the keto diet, right? So but you'd want to call it something different, like the carnival diet, or the caveman diet. So you could say something along the lines of like, look, you want to, and we'll talk about this in the instant ROI Ads formula, but you would say something along the lines of like, hey, look, I've been in your same shoes. I also was overweight. Show a photo of you overweight. And when I was overweight, I had low self-esteem. There are girls I were attracted to, and I'd always be friend zoned. And every time I ask them out, they'd always be like, Bobby, I like you, but you're like a friend to me, and you're like a brother to me, and I don't see you in that way. And they give you that line, and look, I was right there with you, right? And I tried all these different things. If you're like me, you tried all these different things and they didn't work. And here's the thing, it's not your fault. That's because your body is burning glycogen when it should be burning fat. And as long as you're giving your body glycogen, then you're not going to lose the fat. So then I started doing more research, and I discovered that if my body was producing ketones, then I'm no longer, burning sugar, and all that excess sugar is being turned to fat. I'm burning fat as like my main energy source, and so I'm able to lose a lot of weight. And I've discovered the solution and the strategy, and I call it the carnivore diet. And and the carnivore, and I've showed a lot of my friends, and they tried the carnivore diet. And look at John, look at your before and after. Look at my buddy John. He lost 50 pounds in 3 months, and my friend Sandra, she lost 40 pounds in 2.5 months with our new carnivore diet. So you're kind of weaving all these different elements in your ad copy. You're showing testimonials, you're showing before and after photos. You want people to feel like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can achieve it. Yeah, he's speaking my language. I'm also, having the same problems that he is, and I'm able to relate with him, right, in that way. Authorities. That's something that's big. So if it's coming from a physician or a scholar or an industry leader, like people are more likely to believe that as a result, right? That's why you see in a lot of these pharmaceutical ads, they always have a doctor. Like doctors, I know doctors, and I'm like, hey, do you guys ever wear the white? Like no doctor ever wears the white coat. Well, yeah, not normally. They wear that white lab coat. But they always show the doctor in the white lab coat in those ads, right? Why? Because, we put a certain level of authority on the doctors. Like, yeah, he's a doctor, and he tells me, not to do this or not to eat this, or to, that this is the best thing for my health. I'm going to believe him because he has an authority. He's an authority in that field. Recognition badges, awards, certifications, those are all things too to help really kind of solidify and justify with logic and proof that your product will work, right? So it's got to make sense for them. So let's talk about the Perfect ROI Ads formula. I'm real excited to share this with you. The Perfect ROI Ads formula leverages powerful elements of psychology to help you craft ad copy that gives you the highest probability of conversions, okay? And so what we've done here, what it does is it identifies their problem, it identifies their hell, it agitates their pain, and then it shares your unique method for helping solve their problem and move them from their hell to their heaven, okay? It leverages fear, status, and logic and gain so that you have the highest probability of convincing them to take action now. So we're weaving all these elements in our ad copy to get us every fighting chance of getting that conversion. It builds trust and authority, And it creates urgency so that people convert now rather than later. Why do most people not take action now? If you're selling a product, why don't they buy now? Why don't they buy now? Well, let me think about it. I'll buy it later. Or, my tooth hurts, but, I can put it off for a little bit longer. Look, there's no urgency. You got to create a sense of urgency. The greatest way to do that is through scarcity. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we continue to go through the Perfect ROI Ads formula as well. So here's how that works. So step one, we want to propose the big idea. We want to introduce the big idea, an idea that is unique, that's intellectually interesting, that's emotionally compelling. A new development or a new discovery is always a great place to start. So think about this. A lot of times in copywriting, we're going to call this the hook. Okay, we have to have a good hook. You're out there fishing. It's hard to catch fish unless you have a good hook, something that's going to really grab their attention, right? And again, if you're, as we go through each one of these steps, it'll be about 1 or 2 sentences per step. So, in that first sentence, you have to have something that's going to hook them. And it's got to be an idea that they've never really heard of before. It's got to be unique. It's got to be intellectually interesting. It's got to be emotionally compelling. And that takes a lot of thought, energy, to come up with a good hook. But that's probably the most important part of a successful ad, is coming up with a really good hook, a really good big idea. Step 2 is we want to establish identity. Okay, so we want to identify who we're speaking to, so who that customer avatar is. So that's why we went through and created that customer avatar. Who are we speaking to? We're speaking to Tommy Technology, right? What problems is Tommy Technology having? Okay, what pain are they experiencing? We want to establish that in our second step. Then we want to agitate that pain. Remember, problem, agitate, solution. Agitate that pain. Agitate it. Take that knife, stick it in there deep like this, and twist that knife, and just create that pain. Agitate that pain. Okay, we want people to take action. So we want to amplify their pain points by describing it in detail and all the bad feelings it's causing. Okay, and then we want to describe how they will continue to feel if that pain is unsolved. So think about Tommy Technology. I want to go back to weight loss, right? But one of his concerns was, he's going to let his life waste by. So think about this. If you're talking to, our overweight avatar, Chris, right? Think about this. Like, look, man, are you gonna continue to live your life lonely, without the physical touch of a person that you love? That you need that. Are you gonna continue to, do you not want to live a long, happy, healthy life? Studies have shown that, people with a BMI of X, they don't make it past 50. Is that, so we want to remind them of their pain. We want to agitate that as much as we can. Then we want to empathize with them. Okay, we want to empathize with your prospect, and we want to portray them as the victim. Remember, place the blame for their problem somewhere or on somewhere else. Look, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's Big Pharma's fault. It's the food industry's fault, right? It's not your fault. Put the blame on someone else and empathize with them. Look, I was in your same situation. Look at me before. I used to weigh 345 pounds. And like you, I too was constantly in the friend zone. And I was constantly, out of breath walking up a flight of stairs. And all my friends wouldn't go play a game of basketball, and I had to say, no, I got something else to do. Really had nothing else to do. I knew I couldn't keep up with them. And I'd bring the game down. I'd make it less fun for everyone. Look, I was in that same situation. All right? But look, it's not your fault. Just like it wasn't my fault, it was also not your fault. We want to feel their pain. We want to empathize with them. Step 5, we want to create authority. So here you can list credentials and or, earned media mentions to build trust and credibility. So maybe you're featured on several news networks, or maybe you're featured in kind of high-profile interviews on high-profile podcasts, things of that nature. To kind of build credibility, right? So you would say, look, I was in the same situation. Hey, my name is Robert Hicks. You may have seen me on Dr. Oz or, Oprah. sharing how I've helped, hundreds of people lose weight with XYZ, right? Then you go into step 6. So like, remember, each step is just 1 or 2 sentences. Then you want to tell your story, right? So look, I feel your pain, it's not your fault. Hi, my name is Robert Hicks. You may have seen me on Dr. Oz and Oprah sharing how I've helped hundreds of people, lose weight. I was in a very similar situation. And then you kind of basically what I did in step 4. You can move these around. This is a guideline. Okay, follow the guideline as much as you can, but it's not verbatim, right? But then you want to tell your story. And then you want to reveal your epiphany, right? So we talked about that just a little bit earlier. I struggled with all these different things, and then I made this discovery. You want to describe the aha moment when you finally discover the solution to solving all of your problems. You want to keep it a bit mysterious as well, and you want to build curiosity. And copywriting, I love copy, and I'd love to be a copywriter. I'm not, but I can tell you it's the most important part of any campaign is your copy. But in copy, they talk about opening and closing loops. So think about, like, I love Game of Thrones, okay? And I remember at the end of every Game of Thrones episode, they would always end with a cliffhanger, and you're like, I cannot wait until next Sunday to see what happened to Scarcity. I cannot wait. They open those loops. We're programmed psychologically to want to close loops. So if you're opening up loops by, and creating curiosity, then I'm like, oh, what's he going to say? What's he going to do? I want to continue down the path because I want to close that loop. I want to find out what happened, right? So we always like to, create a little bit of mystery, create a little curiosity in our ad campaign and our ad copy as well. And then you want to introduce your unique mechanism. So, man, I found this, I found out that, the reason why I kept, gaining weight instead of losing weight, and why I was so addicted to all these sugars and all these carbohydrates, which was causing me to continue to eat more and more and more, it was because I had, my body was using glycogen or sugar as a main fuel source for my body. And then I realized through this research that if I would stop eating, foods that contain glycogen, I'm not saying carbohydrates here because I'm going to create some of that curiosity, if I would stop eating foods that contain glycogen, my body would start to produce ketones, and then it would start burning fat. Instead of glycogen, it would start burning fat, and I would lose weight at a rapid speed. And then all my cravings would go away, which is true on the keto diet. It's a real thing. It really works. And I would notice that you reveal your epiphany, and I developed this method I call the carnivore diet, not the keto diet, the carnivore diet. I want to give it a unique name, and that makes it different than what other people are providing. And here's the thing too: when people they hear about this unique name that you've given it, and they go search it, then there's not going to be 100 other people, promoting the same thing that you are promoting because you've given it a different name. So hundreds of people are creating content around the keto diet, but not many people are going to be searching the carnivore diet or the caveman diet or whatever, the brontosaurus diet, whatever you decided to call it, right? The T-Rex diet, like, they're not going to be searching for that, right? Until you bring that into their awareness, and then they're searching for it, and then it's going to show you, right? So you want to have that unique mechanism, and explain how it can, then explain how it can deliver their desired results. So think about that for a minute, Reveal your epiphany, offer the unique mechanism, explain how it's going to help them deliver those desired results. So look, I discovered, the T-Rex diet, the carnivore diet, and almost immediately within the first week, I lost 15 pounds, and then that month I lost 25 pounds, and the second month and within 4 months I lost over 60 pounds. And my food cravings went away, my brain fog went away, my cravings went away, I had more energy, I was able to go play basketball with my friends, the girl from work who I asked out one day, just nonchalantly said, "Hey man, are you losing weight? You're looking good." And I'm thinking about asking her on a date, and then I built up the confidence, asked her on the date, and guess what? Now I'm married to her. We got married. See what I'm saying? You see how this is working? See how this is working? Copy, man, copy. So then you want to affirm with proof. And here's the thing, I shared the carnivore diet with my friends. and they've also lost weight. So then, again, we're weaving in those elements that we discussed earlier to help us write this ad copy. So then I'm going to affirm with proof. Okay, so then I'm going to look at my friend John, look at this before and after picture. He was overweight too. He did the carnivore diet, right? And he lost 40 pounds within 4 months. And my friend Sandra, she lost 60 pounds in 6 months with the carnivore diet, and they love it. And you show like testimonials and screenshots of what they said. Affirm with proof. Then you want to display your irresistible offer. Make them an irresistible offer. Ask yourself, what would it take to motivate you to action? So look, here's what I've done. Okay, I want to get this out. I know there's hundreds of people. I know kids are being bullied every single day, right? And for being overweight. And I know there's people out there who are suffering because, they can't find love in their life, right? And they don't have the confidence. And so look, I want to change the world. I want to make an impact on others. So I put together this free report, okay, called The Secret to the Carnivore Diet. And I put together this free report, and I want to give it to you for free, okay? So I put it up here. Just click the button below, and we're gonna go this down later. But look, I put together this free report called the Carnivore Diet, and inside this diet, I teach you which foods you can avoid and which foods that you wanna consume to help you get this diet and have rapid weight loss. Oh, it sounds good. Like I'm feeling it. I'm feeling myself right now. I'm feeling it. That's the way it works. Okay. So display your irresistible offer. And then you want to spark action with scarcity, with urgency. Spark action with urgency. So then we want to use scarcity, right? Scarcity is a great tool for creating urgency to generate urgency. So try to use, here's the thing, you want to try to use real scarcity and be as specific as possible with the exact number of resources available and the reason for why your resources are scarce. And you want to tell them what to do to claim their irresistible offer. So be very specific. So here's what I want you to do. So look, I put together this free resource, and I want to give it to you for free. But here's the thing. We only have X amount available for this reason. And once they're gone, right? So click the button below right now, and you're going to go to a landing page. And on that landing page, you're going to enter your email, and we're going to email you a copy, right? And that works really well. I want to give you, here's the thing. A lot of people they know it's a marketing gimmick. I mean, how many ads have you seen? Limited time only. While supplies last. Like we've heard that before. Okay, it's a marketing gimmick. We're used to that. You want to be very specific. So one of the things that I'm going to kind of toot my own horn here in a second. But one of the things that we've done here at JS Media with our partnership with AdSkills, we're actually the first and only, as of right now, as we create this video, YouTube AdSkills champion, okay? Which means we're the best. We're the best at YouTube. No one's better than us, all right? And we won this contest. Let me tell you this contest. So Justin Brooke had this contest that he did with Ed Dale, and they were promoting a book. It was like a free plus shipping book called, what's the name of that book? Retargeting Recipes. They put together, they were promoting a book called Retargeting Recipes, okay? And they had this contest, and was the first person who sold 100 copies of this book would get the title, status, right? Remember, they're smart marketers. They would get the title of becoming the YouTube champion. And Bobby Hicks, I'm like the most motivated person you'd ever see in your life. Like I'm motivated by everything. I'm motivated by pain. Like I don't want any pain. I'm motivated by reward. I'm motivated by status. I'm like, challenge accepted. I'm gonna win that YouTube. I'm gonna win it. Okay, I want that title of being a YouTube champion. So look, you win. You sell first person who sells 100 copies of his book. You get the status of being the YouTube champion. You also get like a $5,000 bonus reward gain, and then of course for every book that you sell, you'd also get like a $50 payout, right? So if you sold 100 books, you'd win $10,000 to become a YouTube champion, YouTube AdSkills champion. All right, challenge accepted. So we did an ad. One of the things I truly believe is that business rewards speed. And so I'm always constantly trying to figure out ways that we can become more efficient and crank out things in a more timely manner, just be as quickly as possible and just get things going as quickly as possible. One of the reasons why we won this contest, right? So me and Jason, we put together this ad campaign. We wrote the ad, we shot the ad, we deployed the ad in the same day, okay? We went to sleep. The next day, we looked at our account, like 5 sales. Ugh. Disappointing, right? 5 sales. Not very good. I don't know if the number wasn't 5, but it was very, very low. It was disappointingly low. Like, dang, we're not as good as we thought we were. And then again, remember, you cannot optimize a campaign. If the creative sucks, it doesn't matter what you do, crunching the numbers. Like, you cannot fix something that's already broken, right? So Jason decided to go and he shot another ad, right? He shot another ad and just shot it on his phone. It was not great. It was really crappy quality. But he shot an ad on his phone, and we went to sleep. The next day, we looked at the account, and to our surprise, on day 3, okay, we sold over 100 copies. So by day 3, we won the entire contest. They thought the contest would go on for over a month. No. By day 3, we had crushed it. And I think that the person who came in second place, I think they only sold like 7 copies, maybe. I mean, it was a very low amount. It was nowhere near 100, right? We crushed it. And I look back, I was looking at the ads because I'm trying to analyze, like, okay, what did we do different? Like, okay, maybe Jason, this is my insecurities coming in. I was like, well, Jason's handsomer than me, he's lean. That wasn't it. Well, maybe it was, I don't know. But I was trying to think, like, what was the main reason that we won the contest? And in the original ad that we did, we said, hey, look, he's only got a limited amount of these, and once they're gone, they're gone. So make sure that you take advantage of this now, right? And Jason's version of the ad, he said, now look, this isn't an ebook. This is a physical copy. You're getting a physical copy right here, okay? And it's not something that's like on Amazon where they print on demand, right? He had a limited amount of these. He had 1,000 of these printed off at his house, right? He had 1,000 of these printed off. They're at his house. When you place your order, he's physically putting it in an envelope and he's shipping it to you, right? There's only 1,000 of these left. Once they're gone, right? He did a small batch. And then he went above and gave them a reason why, and told them why he's doing it for free, why he's giving away for free. I think that's a big thing too that I didn't really include in here. He said, now look, the reason why he's giving away these for free is because, he believes, in giving, he wants to sell you other products, right? But he understands that, in order to sell you other products that he has to give you a tremendous amount of value up front, right? So, and that's why he's giving away these books. They're amazing. We do it too. We're a YouTube agency, financial marketing agency. We use these exact recipes. Like, we use this very specific recipe right here. This kills it for us. It's recipe number 23, and it's our workhorse. That's what we use for all of our campaigns, and it helps us crush it, right? So again, he's only got 1,000 of these, and it's he printed 1,000 of these. Once they're gone, they're gone. He's going to have to order another batch. And that'll take 3 to 4 months for that for them to print and be packaged and shipped back to him, so he can ship them back out. So if you want this now, you got to do it now. And the reason why he's doing this is because he wants to sell you other products, and he understands that in order to do that, he's got to give you a tremendous amount of value up front. And this is him doing that, right? And that was the only difference. And literally, we changed the ad. Nothing else changed. Targeting didn't change, nothing else changed, just the copy changed. We were very specific with our scarcity. We went to sleep the next day, we sold over 100, and the contest closed in 3 days. I love that story. Anyways, you want to spark action with urgency, and you want to use scarcity. Scarcity is the greatest tool for creating urgency.